Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last time we stopped at the events after the Battle of Uhud when we talked about the big treason that happened to the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the two events where many of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were betrayed and they were killed when different tribes came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking for someone to teach them Quran and to educate them about Islam. And the Prophet ﷺ sent some of his best companions, but they were betrayed, and that was another hard hit to the community of the Prophet ﷺ. If you go back to the Battle of Uhud, at the end of the battle, when Abu Sufyan was leaving the battlefield and he asked to confirm the rumors that the Prophet ﷺ was killed, and he was told that he was not, and Abu Sufyan said, then let's set an appointment to resume our war a year from now. And it's going to be near the original site where the Battle of Badr took place. And the believers around the Prophet ﷺ basically took that as a serious appointment. The Prophet ﷺ took that as a serious appointment, and they were planning for that event. Again, with all the hardships that occurred in Uhud and in Bi'r Ma'una and in Yawm al-Raji', still the Prophet ﷺ wanted to show the non-believers that all of these hardships did not affect the resolve of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. So when it came time for that meeting, Quraysh itself was divided internally. If you look at the leadership in Quraysh, most of the old leaders were killed in Badr. So we have Utbah ibn Rabi'a, Shayba ibn Rabi'a, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, Abu Jahl. All of these leaders of Quraysh, all of them are gone. So now we have a leadership crisis or a leadership problem. And therefore, someone needs to emerge to lead Quraysh. Utbah and Shayba ibn Rabi'a, the two brothers, were from Bani Umayyah. Abu Jahl was from Bani Makhzum or from Makhzum. And these were the two tribes that basically, in the absence of Bani Hashim, the clan of the Prophet ﷺ, these assumed the leadership of Quraysh. Now the leaders of Bani Umayyah, Utbah and Shayba were killed, and now Abu Jahl from Bani Makhzum was also killed. Who is going to assume that leadership? Abu Sufyan himself was absent during the Battle of Badr, as we know, and he assumed that leadership in Uhud. But some of his peers were not very pleased with that de facto leadership of Abu Sufyan. Among them was Safwan ibn Umayyah. Safwan ibn Umayyah ibn Khalaf from Bani Jumah. They hated, so Utbah and Shayba were from Bani Umayyah, but Umayyah ibn Khalaf was from Bani Jumah. Safwan wanted to take the leadership that his father once had. So now there's an internal friction between these different factions or wings of Quraysh. Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, the son of Abu Jahl, is still too young. He's not at the same level as these two leaders, Abu Sufyan and Safwan. So Safwan ibn Umayyah actually told Abu Sufyan, we don't need to go back this year. We don't need. Let's just rest and let's sit on our victory and enjoy this victory. I'm afraid that if we go and meet with them again, if we are defeated, that's going to wipe out our victory. So let's just be patient and not go this year. But Abu Sufyan insisted, it's my prestige, it's my word, let's go and meet with them. And Abu Sufyan actually wanted to throw fear in the hearts of the community of Medina led by the Prophet ﷺ. So he sent one of his friends. His name was Nu'aym ibn Mas'ud. Nu'aym ibn Mas'ud, we're going to hear his name again. Nu'aym ibn Mas'ud was from the larger tribe of Hawazin, which was not too far from Mecca. And he was not an enemy of the Prophet ﷺ. He was not a Muslim. So he was sort of a neutral person, trusted relatively by Quraysh and trusted also relatively by the Prophet ﷺ. So Abu Sufyan told him, I want you to deliver a message to Muhammad and his companions ﷺ. What is the content of this message? The content of the message was that Quraysh is coming as they promised, and they're going to meet you at Badr, and they're going to fight you, and this time they're going to eradicate you, they're going to wipe you out. So Nu'aym ibn Mas'ud went and delivered this message of Abu Sufyan, but what he saw in Medina, actually, he saw that the community of the Prophet ﷺ was so united, was so strong, and they were following the Prophet ﷺ. So he went back to Abu Sufyan saying, well, I want you to reconsider. Muhammad and his army are ready for you. And this time they're saying that they're going to get the revenge for the companions who were killed in the Battle of Badr and the partial loss that they had in the Battle of Badr, in the Battle of Uhud. So if you were to listen to me, if you want to take my opinion, don't go. So now Abu Sufyan is in a dilemma. He promised and he put his own name and his own prestige on the fact that he's going to lead another expedition against the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. And now the news that came back to him confirm the view of Safwan ibn Umayyah that let's not risk our victory in Uhud. So Abu Sufyan came up, he was a very smart man, by the way. He came up with an idea and he told his people, this year has been a very dry year. There's been a big drought in Mecca and we are relatively weak. Our animals, our cattle is very weak and thin. So let's wait for another year. Maybe next year is going to be more prosperous. We're going to have more rain and we're going to have more vegetation for ourselves and our cattle. So let's wait for another year. But this year, let's not go. And his people just waited to hear these news. They were trying to find any excuse not to go again and travel all this distance from Mecca to very close to Medina to fight the Prophet ﷺ. Some of them were initially reluctant. Still, these are our cousins, our brothers, our relatives. And some of them thought, well, it's a long travel. We have met with them twice before. In the first time, we were completely defeated. In the second time, we were almost defeated until very close to the end of the day. So let's not risk it. So they told Abu Sufyan, that's fine. Let's sit this year and not go and fight the Prophet ﷺ. Now the Prophet ﷺ, to show that he is serious and to show the other tribes around Medina especially that he ﷺ is serious and that the effects of Uhud and the other two betrayals did not really affect the unity of his community, he told his companions, we are gonna go to that appointment and we're gonna stay there. We're gonna wait for a week for them to show up. If they don't show up, then it's their problem, not ours. But let's show all the tribes around us that we are ready for any battle that the enemy can bring to us. At Badr, at that particular place, there used to be an annual trade market or trade festival or something like that. Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu says that I took my trade with me. I took the money to trade to Badr, the second Badr, Badr 2. And he said that I earned or I gained for every dirham an equivalent. So my profit was 100%. And this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when they follow their leader sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they sacrifice everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only is going to reward them in the hereafter, but the reward is also going to come in this life. And therefore the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took his army, as we just mentioned, and they stayed in Badr for 1 week. Different tribes came to trade and buy and sell, and it was the festival that used to take place every year. And they went back to Medina, now satisfied that again they delivered the message, we are not afraid of the enemy, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them all of these gains. Now there were some other tribes that started to cause some trouble for the people in Medina. And among them was the tribe of Ghatafan. Ghatafan was another big tribe that was located to the east, slightly to the northeast of Medina. And there was another tribe, actually even farther, the tribe of Kalb, which was almost on at the edge of the Arabian Peninsula, on the border between the Arabian Peninsula and Asham, which is the area that's Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Jordan. And the Prophet ﷺ again wanted to send a message. You are quite far away, but this distance is not going to be an obstacle. We are willing to travel and reach you in your land. If you think about attacking us, we are going to take the preemptive strike, and we're going to just reach your borders or reach your land to show you that we're ready for you. So the Prophet ﷺ marshaled an army of about 1,000 of his companions radiallahu anhum, and he led them ﷺ to a place called Dumat al-Jandal. Dumat al-Jandal, this is basically the tribal place of Kalb. And when the Prophet ﷺ arrived there with his army, they had already received some news about the approach of the Prophet ﷺ. They left their village and fled. So the Prophet ﷺ reached it. There was no fighting. He showed them that he can reach them if he wants, ﷺ. They stayed there for a few days, and then they returned back. And that pretty much ends the 4th year of the hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ. These were some of the major events. Now on the domestic front, one of the great companions of the Prophet ﷺ, who was also one of his cousins, the son of Barra, who was the sister of Abdullah, the father of the Prophet ﷺ, Barra bint Abdul Muttalib. Her son, his name was Abu Salama ibn Abdul Asad radiallahu anhu. And Sayyidina Abu Salama radiallahu anhu was a great companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who supported the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on different occasions. Sayyidina Abu Salama, in fact, was one of the first people who, based on the advice or the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, migrated to Abyssinia, to Al-Habasha. He migrated there the 2 times, taking his family with him, including his wife, Sayyida Umm Salama radiallahu anha, and their young baby son, Salama. Now, Sayyidina Abu Salama radiallahu anhu fought with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Uhud. And he fought very bravely in Uhud. And he was injured. He had a severe injury in Uhud. And he was about to recover, or it seemed that he was about to recover from that injury. And there was a severe injury in one of his wrists. And in fact, it seems, at least on the surface, that the wound is healing nicely, but unfortunately that was not the case. And a few months after Uhud, his wound opened again, and it was sort of infected, and Sayyidina Abu Salama radiallahu anhu died. Now, before he died, at one time he was talking to his wife, chatting with her, and he told her, let's make a pledge to each other. If I die first, do not marry after me. And if you die first, I'm not going to marry after you. So she said, fine, I'm willing to take that pledge. They loved each other so much. But then he had a change of heart, and he changed his mind. He said, no, you know what? You are still relatively young. I mean, she was about 29 years old. 29 by our measures nowadays is relatively a young age, but by the measures of the Arabs at that time, it was really mature age. So it's not young anymore. Young would be probably 15, 16, but 29, that's twice that age. But anyway, he told her, you know what? I would hate for you to stay celibate if I die. So let's sit together and make a supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I make a supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if I die, that a man better than me would propose to you and would marry you. And Sayyidah Umm Salama radiallahu anha thought to herself, who on earth could be better than Abu Salama? He's a great man, he's been a great husband. So she just followed his dua, but deep in her mind, she couldn't think of anyone that could replace Abu Salama radiallahu anhu. When Sayyidina Abu Salama radiallahu anhu died, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to offer his condolences to his widow, Sayyidah Umm Salama radiallahu anha, She asked him sallallahu alaihi wasallam what to say. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught her to say the dua when someone is tested in something dear that they have lost. Allahumma ajurni fi musibati wa khlufni khayran minha. Oh Allah, give me reward in my hardship for my patience and replace me with something better than what I have lost. So she said the dua as the Prophet ﷺ instructed her, but again, deep in her mind, she thought to herself, وَخْلُفْنِي خَيْرًا مِنْهَا, who replace or substitute for me something better than what I have lost. Who could be better than Abu Salama radiallahu anhu? It never came to her mind that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in a tribute to his fallen cousin radiallahu anhu, and as a sign of respect to care for his widow and their young child, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam proposed to a Sayyidah Salama radiallahu anha. So now this is a fulfillment of her dua based on her trust in the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Definitely the Prophet sallallahu, with all the greatness of Sayyidina Abu Salama radiallahu anhu, definitely the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is better. So when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam proposed to her, she told him, well, I know that you're definitely better than Abu Salama, but I have two issues. I have young children, and I'm a very jealous woman. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her, don't worry about your young children. I am going to raise them as my own. And don't worry about your jealousy. We're going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to channel it in a positive way and not in a negative way. And Sayyidah Salama radiallahu anha accepted the proposal of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they were married in this 4th year of the hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, on the domestic front, there is something else that's brewing in the background. When Sayyidina Zayd ibn Haritha radiallahu anhu, after again he was renamed back to his old name Zayd ibn Haritha, instead of his old name Zayd ibn Muhammad when the Prophet ﷺ had adopted him. Now when he was looking for marriage, the Prophet ﷺ married him to, again, one of his cousins, Sayyidah Zaynab bint Jahsh radiallahu anha. Sayyidah Zaynab bint Jahsh is from Bani Hashim. She's from a prominent, relatively wealthy family. And Sayyidina Zayd ibn Haritha radiallahu anhu is a former slave. So where's the equivalence here? There's a big disparity or big gap between an honorable woman from a wealthy clan and a former slave. But again, the Prophet ﷺ wanted to show that this old structure of hierarchy within the tribes, this is something of the past, that the differentiation in the consideration of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is based on only piety and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not on lineage or ancestry or anything like that. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered him or advised him to marry a Sayyidah Zaynab bint Jahsh radiallahu anha. She initially was reluctant until the Prophet ﷺ told her, this man is a great man. This man is beloved by me and beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's a very good person. So again, sort of reluctantly, she accepted that proposal and they were married. But deep in her mind, she still had this idea that we are not equivalent. We do not have the same background. We do not have the same habits and customs and reference points. Although our main reference point is Islam, but still there are some differences. So their marital life was not a very smooth one. And each time Sayyidina Zayd radiallahu anhu would come to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying it's hard to maintain this matrimony, the Prophet ﷺ would advise him, just be patient. Let's try again. Until there came a time when the breach was too wide to bridge. So he told the Prophet ﷺ, we cannot stay married. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us an option, which is divorce. Yes, it's not advisable, but it is allowable if the alternative is worse. So now they were divorced, Sayyidina Zayd radiallahu anhu and Sayyidah Zaynab radiallahu anha. And this is something very important here, by the way. He was a great companion radiallahu anhu. She was a great companion of the Prophet ﷺ initially, and then, as we're going to mention in a moment, she became the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, Mu'mineen. So she's in the highest level of the ladies of Quraysh. How come two great, pious, good people could not stay married? Again, this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us, that sometimes the marital discord might happen even among the best people. So if life is not going to go smoothly, there's a way out, instead of ruining the community and creating even worse feelings within the members of the community. So when they were divorced, now, according to the customs of the Arabs, a man cannot marry the divorcee of his son. And in fact, in Islam, a person cannot marry the divorcee of his son. But Sayyidina Zayd radiallahu anhu is not really the son of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For a short period of time, he was named Zayd ibn Muhammad to honor him after he preferred to stay with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam than to return to his blood family. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as a way of honoring him, named him Zayd ibn Muhammad. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us again that this adoption is not part of Islam, and even though he was for a while named Zayd ibn Muhammad, his name is Zayd ibn Haritha. He should restore that name again. And if he had divorced his wife, there's nothing wrong with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam marrying this divorcee. Sayyidah Zainab bint Jahsh radiallahu anha would say that it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who married me to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from above 7 heavens. And in each one of the marriages of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a reason, there was a wisdom, there was a guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there was something for us to learn from as well. So again, within a short period of time, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam added to his household these two great ladies, Sayyidah Salama radiallahu anha, who was from Bani Makhzum, and Sayyidah Zainab bint Jahsh radiallahu anha, who was from Bani Hashim, to strengthen that community, and adding two great mothers of the believers, Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, to the household of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, next time we're going to talk about another attempt of Quraysh and its allies, who were not satisfied with the strength and solidarity and expansion of the reign of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they wanted to extinguish that one way or another. So until next time, inshallah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.